Welcome to On the Chain. This is Who's, That's How's. What is going on, everybody? Looking forward to today's show. Tell you what, Ripple, XRP, that's what, and Gensler. You guys know Gary, the G-Man, Gensler, and Elizabeth Warren continuing to try to dismantle and topple cryptocurrencies here in, you guessed it, the USA. And a lot of things going on because at the same time, there's commercials for USDC Circle popping up all the time on regular prime time, all sorts of stuff, all sorts of development in the space. But Gary and Elizabeth, what are they up to? What's going on? And we might even look at a little bit of commentary from John Deaton on where XRP is going and whether or not there's going to be a settlement with Ripple in the near future.
I prefer Pocahontas. That's okay. Pocahontas, self-anointed, really.
The self-anointed queen of... There you go. They should get married.
Queen of Mean. No, that was a hotel. That was, what was her name? The hotel queen in New York there.
Oh, yeah. And everybody give a quick shout out where you're tuning in from. Chip, you ready to kick this thing off?
Let's go.
Welcome to On the Chain.
On the chain, everybody.
Mark Hayes tuning in from Manchester.
Yeah.
Manchester. Mark, is that Man U or Man City? That's the big question.
Yeah, some of the best music of all time comes from Manchester. That's all I can tell you. I mean, some of the best music of all bands from all time.
Of all time.
All time, dude.
The espresso cup is too small.
Mention.
Need to get the bigger espresso.
That's like I look like a little girl. It's with the little finger up.
I'm having a tea party.
A little tea party.
Yeah.
With this much coffee in it. My God.
This much coffee. Look at this.
Well, look at it.
It looks ridiculous, doesn't it, on camera?
It looks pathetic, actually. Super duper. Man.
It's great.
In this one, I've got the Obsidian Bold.
There we go. Hot.
And this big dog right here.
More Obsidian
Big
Bold.
dog. Obsidian Bold, but cold brew. It's weird. Like a little sippy of the cold and a little bit of the hot. That's really good. Some cold brew.
Chip, get a haircut.
Who likes my haircut? Making Jeff jealous now. You and jealous, yeah.
He has the exact same hairstyle as I do.
Well, I'm happy that I have hair. That's it. I just like to.
I used to be happy.
Yeah. Well, maybe I'll be bald one day, Jeff. You never know. Just growing the hair out. Just
until you can't.
Whatever. Until you can't anymore. I mean, it still grows out of my head, which is good. For my advanced age, it's not a bad thing, Jeff. It's not a bad thing at all. So, so this is interesting, Jeff. So a lot of stuff going on, but I wanted to play a couple of funny things first. Just kind of go with a little bit of funny things. But I saw this one. X is one of the greatest places to be because there's so much fun stuff there. Vitalik, as you guys all know, is kind of like done over there at Ethereum. So he wrote this whole he penned this whole article called The End of My Childhood, right? I mean, I don't know how you come up with that. But it's this big, long. He wrote this at the end of, January 31st. My most striking memories from the last 2 years: speaking at hackathons, visiting hacker houses, doing Zulu in Montenegro, which is great. I've been there. Seeing people a decade younger than myself taking on leading roles. What is he? 30 now. Zuzalu, the 21-year-old Nicole's son, and earlier she invited me to visit a hacker house in South Korea. And then, so here he is talking to prominent life extension and blah, 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 blah. I don't know. He's got more time on his hands, Jeff, right? So he did all this stuff, this big whole article. It's a lot of stuff, Jeff. We're not reading any of this, to be honest with you.
Man, the Rumble. Man, I tell you, Rumble's starting to upset me.
Rumble's got some tech things going on.
So I put it up, but it didn't put up the new thumbnail and titles, and I'm updating that now. And then when you put up a new one, it removes the thumbnail from the previous video, so then you have to go back in and update that video.
Oh, that doesn't make sense, Jeff.
No, it makes zero sense altogether.
I mean, Vitalik, I don't know, man. I mean, God bless him. He's a billionaire. Or maybe
who's he with? Why is he with all those people with masks on?
Because they're all anons there, Jeff. They don't want to know who they are. They're so-and-so.eth and so-and-so.eth and hacker.eth and, they're just anons, right?
Got it.
But he's not anonymous because obviously his face, right? His face talks about.
Vitalik is definitely not anonymous.
preferences without a complicated scientific explanation into why your preferences are the true absolute good. This is somebody pontificating about. I really, honestly, Jeff, don't even know what it's pontificating about. But I will say this: Stephen Naroff, he obviously has the goods. He's the former attorney that was working with the co-founders. He was very involved early on with the ETH project, right? And he said, and obviously exposing Vitalik and the rest of the folks over there as doing some shady stuff, right? And then of course we had was this board sleuth that came out with the receipts about a certain hack that looks like gas fees were provided by a Vitalik wallet. It just looks a little creepy what was going on there. Stephen Naroff says, "Oh, so cute! Can't wait for your next article. The end of my freedom."
There you go.
Oh God, is that funny, Jeff? I gotta love that. Gotta love. Hey, fam.
Yeah, look at that.
Hey,
2-1 Tottenham over Everton. Extra time in the half.
Huh? Who won?
It's 2-1, but they have extra time in the half here. They're going extra 2 minutes.
Oh, that's the only extra time?
Well, they'll have extra time at the end.
Oh, they will. Okay, yeah. And that's the first half. Gotcha.
That's just the first half.
Hey,
2-1.
from Virginia. Virginia's here. Yeah, hair's long as that's good, man. Growing it out, man. Look at that. Vitalik is hiding out in a strange place these days where there's no USA extradition cooperation, right? I believe he's in Montenegro, right? That's the first. Listen, that's the first red flag. If you're going to a place, Jeff, that doesn't have a USA extradition treaty, well, guess what?
Guess what?
You're like, do you do that? Like, well, just in case, or are you anticipating? I mean, obviously, we got that giant, was that $4 billion fine? Good looking out there, Jim D. That's fantastic. Vitalik. I know we know what you meant to say. It's not an easy name to type, and especially if you're. Well, it's not like we didn't screw up who's first WHOSE, then it was
who's house
three times right. But we did correct ourselves. Did get it right. So there's you go.
Nobody will figure out what that word
XRP says Mr. Q. So that's kind of cute there, Jeff.
So cute.
You gotta like that really a lot. And I wanted to play this. I was in a space yesterday with XRPP. He does these amazing spaces for the Zerpe project, which he's launched and bootstrapped. And man, great to see him building on the XRPL. And he said that a lot of people came at him and were willing to give him more in the way of like other projects were really to help him, supply him with stuff. And he put out a really good tweet. I'm probably gonna have to find that X post that he put out because I think it's really spot on and really catches, he's a lot of satire, he's fun, but this is a really good perspective because I agreed with almost everything he had there. And by the way, speaking of which, Tony from Thinking Crypto, got to get him on the show, maybe tomorrow night, but we've been going back and forth. So I want to hear his perspective because he's been sticking daggers in Chris Larson, man. He's been really hard. Him and Jungle Inc. have been going at it really hard. And I was just like, the guy's wallet got compromised. Okay. That just goes to show you that it can happen to anyone. But the counter argument is it's the chairman at Ripple, Jeff.
Yeah. Well, it wasn't just the chairman of Ripple who also lost a hard drive.
Well, that was
Stefan Thomas lost like $150 million.
No, 280 million at the time.
280 million at the time of the event. So imagine that. Imagine when that happens.
He had a cold storage wallet that only allowed 10 tries.
That's
but he's got a firm working on it. There is a firm that came forward and said that they would be able to crack it. But it would cost an exorbitant amount of money. I mean, basically what they'll do is they'll end up taking a stake of those winnings, when they
but it's worth it. But that's that's the price you pay. So let's say they said to him, look, we're gonna here's the cost of it. When we're done with whatever the cost is, we're gonna take 50 million.
Right.
I'll be like, hey, okay, let's say it costs 50 million. So let's say you're left, total cost to do whatever they have to do is 50, and you have to give them 50. And you're left with 150 million. If it was worth 250, you do it all day long. Even if you walked away with only 50 million, you'd do it all day long. Only because of the fact that right now it's just garbage. It's like the guy that threw the hard drive out and it was buried somewhere. And he was petitioning the city to start, digging to find this hard drive, because they kind of have an idea of what depth it would be at, what quadrant it would be at based on, the times, and they'll start digging and looking for it. And then if people find, if they find it, now he has to share their rewards. But when it's worth 150 million or 200 million,
Well, Jeff, that's exactly why.
yeah.
My wife calls me a hoarder, and maybe she's right. Okay, I'm not saying she's right, but like I keep boxes for things that I purchase.
Mhm.
And she's like, "Why do you do that?" I'm like, "Because if we have to move it, I want it to go back in the box that was actually made for it." I mean, not necessarily a computer, right? A computer you can put in like in a backpack or something like that. But like, for example, I got these pro monitors next to me, and the boxes are massive, right? So they have these giant monitors for like recording and stuff, but they're heavy, they're big, but they've got boxes that like you could throw the boxes. They got the padding, the extra strips of heavy cardboard on the side, so they can't get damaged. So what do you do with that when you lose the original packaging, which happens quite a bit? I do lose, but these people were not hoarders. They were like, "Oh, get rid of it." And I keep all my old hard drives, by the way.
I used to
Have a-
keep all anything that was electronic, because especially when you go in and rebuild a computer or something like that, you always want to have items around, and it was just
Correct.
it was harder to get parts and things before. You'd have to go on eBay and track. So I had a whole 2 bins, filled with all sorts of different cables and components and just anything that was available. But you get to a point where it becomes obsolete, goes in the garbage. That's when I threw it away. But then I get to a point where I'm like, should I keep this? Because now it's like historic memorabilia. That's no
That's the whole
longer
thing, Jeff.
like old cell phones and like,
I have
this.
first.
Like, what's the purpose of having this sitting around on the desk
Okay,
other
I
than
will
it's
give.
historic memorabilia?
I have an answer for you. There is no purpose to having that phone. But if you've got the
One of
first
the
iPhone,
greatest phones ever made, the Nokia.
never, dude, never owned a Nokia. I'm proud to say that. Had one BlackBerry, trashed it immediately. Hated the
I used to
BlackBerry
love my
more than
BlackBerry.
life itself.
But what's nice about the BlackBerry? It was the first phone that traveled internationally properly.
Okay,
Like
there you
all the
go.
other phones
I'll
wouldn't
give it
travel
that.
internationally, and I got the one that was international. It was
That's why it
great.
was a business phone. It was a great business phone, but I just didn't. I didn't like it. There's something about it just didn't work for me.
Mhm.
Anyway, I like the Palm better. The Palm, remember the Palm Pilot? Because
Oh
I
man, I
always
used to love the Palm Pilot.
because I had a Palm back in the like late 90s, and I was like where I used to keep all my everything, all my stuff was in there. I was digital device. It went everywhere with me. It had everyone's addresses in there, had their phone numbers, and I put it all in there, but you couldn't do anything with it. You could just, go to a payphone or something. I don't know. You could just type it, but like it was
But it
a
was
phone
helpful.
before. It was the data side without the phone, but it had the keyboard, had the built-in key. So when they came out with the Palm phone, I was into it. But I got the first, second, third, fourth. I have every iteration of the iPhone. I don't know why I keep that. The Treo, that's what it was called. That's right, Crypto G. Right on. The Treo
That
was
was
a good
very
thing.
cool. Now, what games did you have on the Palm 5? You had Snake, and there was
Snake
like
was good, I think.
Drug Dealer or Drug Wars or something like that. Do you
I
remember
don't
that one?
remember, Jeff. I wasn't much in the gaming thing on that side, but I was in the regular gaming. Back then I was playing Quake and
Oh
originally
man,
Doom and
Quake.
back in Doom and Quake and
Oh man, you remember Doom?
I was at a place that
was
had a
Doom was
T1, so I
awesome.
was like, dude, I was in a clan. We game for like a couple hours. But then I realized there was a time when I realized like either I give gaming up or it's going to own me the rest of my life. So I gave it
Yeah.
up, and then my kids got gaming consoles, and I was like, don't touch it. Do not touch the gaming console. I
That
was like,
was-
I just sucks you right in, Jeff. You can't do it, right?
Dude,
Look at
I had Sega back in the day. Sega was
Oh yeah,
awesome.
Sega was
Brought that to
great.
college, and that was it. It was hockey, it was
Played
NHL,
hockey.
and
Yep,
Maddens, and that's what people would play it like nonstop. And then
nonstop. It was great
what's the
back in the day, man.
that was back in the day. And then PlayStation 2 sucked me, and I beta tested SOCOM, so I was a beta tester for that game, and then got into a clan on that one in SOCOM 2, and I talked to these guys back that I'd play with at that point. We played every single night. It would be like 3-4 hours, and then hung out with those guys for like
That's what I'm saying. It sucks you
15
down.
years. I'm like, I kept talking. It's crazy.
Right. You got to know these people, and they were just like online, and then names too. What was your gaming name, Jeff? What was your gaming name?
In the beginning, well, in SOCOM, it was what was it? I'm trying to think. I think it was just Mac. And then We had
Like,
then we had clan iterations. You know,
yeah,
whatever.
mine was
Oh,
morphine.
our clan was uh
The
it
douchebags.
was OHG,
Douches.
the Over the Hill Gang.
Okay.
So the beta testers, we set up a clan in beta testers, and you had to be
Good
over
job.
30 to be part of it. So it's 30 and over,
Okay.
and so that was pretty cool.
Interesting. Yeah, I was morphine, but people think because of a lot of different things, but it was really because of the band Morphine. I just happened to be listening to it while I was setting up, my gaming name, and I was like, all right, Morphine sounds like a good, cool gaming name to set up. Look at this right here. Greetings, it's BZ. Jeff, how'd you get John Wick on the show? Oh, it's Jeff.
It was hard to do. It was hard.
It was hard to do. Yeah, it's like, there we go. Look at
What was
look right there.
Agree, that was on the Nokia. What was your favorite full size like arcade game, like that sucked you in, that you pump lots of quarters into?
I don't know if it's
Favorite
really
of all time.
I mean, like the little corner store where I grew up had Space Invaders. That was probably it. I mean, that was
way
probably
back.
from the day, but I mean, there was probably a bunch. But if you went to an arcade, I don't know. The Street Fighter was pretty good too, man.
Mortal Kombat.
Yeah, is that what Mortal Kombat?
Mortal Kombat and Street Fighter. But
Fighter,
Mortal Kombat, I played that until I won that damn game. That was insane.
That's the problem, Jeff.
The
Like, there's
amount
like
of time that you had to
one more time, one more thing. What was that one? Bunny Blow. What was that one?
That was on Nintendo.
Well, that was Nintendo.
That was Nintendo. What was that called? I don't remember. I never had a Nintendo.
Yeah, I had that one. What's going on? Space Invaders. There you go. Space Invaders. But I was really young back in the day. But
how about Galaga? Galaga was cool too.
Yeah, Galaga was pretty good too. Yeah, it was a good one. All right, let's get back on track, Jeff. We're just going off. So I was in
Dragon's Lair. I remember that one.
There you go.
That was way back, like a cartoon game from back in the 80s. It was actually pretty cool, but you'd only play like half the time. Yeah.
Yeah. Was that the one? Was that the one where it was like an A, B, and you sort of like change the story? Was that the one?
Yeah, and it would give you a couple different options. You had you were a knight or something, and you'd walk through. Yep.
And then in the 90s, Jeff, there was a D&D game where my buddy, he set it up, and then it got a little too weird for me and I wasn't really into the play, but after we would play video games, and that's really what I went for. But it got to a point of where, back when one of the guys showed up in full Klingon cosplay and was speaking Klingon, and I'm like, okay, I gotta just back out of this thing. I can't do this anymore, And he started learning the language. There is a real language. They actually made a language for it. He had the dictionary, and he started, and I'm like, dude, you can't speak Klingon. He goes, no, but that means this. And I was like, and then fast forward till now, Jeff, and we have a whole language for the
we have a Yeti language. Badass Yetis. We wrote a language for
back into it, Jeff. I don't know. That seems cooler to me. I don't know. Maybe I'm losing it. I don't know. Maybe I'm losing it. But I wanted to say
pinball machines. I love pinball machines too.
Oh, I played a lot of pinball. And then my buddies.
Pinball was great. There's so many great pinball machines.
My buddies had a couple pinballs. So we just go over there, drink beers, and play pinball all night. And, just heap in the reset. You didn't put quarters in anymore. It's fantastic.
Yeah. Dude, Sonic, that was also good. I had to play that one until we finished it.
There's a lot of good stuff there, Jeff.
How many games you got to finish them?
I want to put this on and just listen to this. This was Ellie Tarrant. Hopefully this sounds good, but Ellie Tarrant was on this was the featured guest in the XRP space, and I just want to play this short little clip. She talks about a little bit like her foray into like crypto and stuff. Here we go.
It's really exciting because when I first started covering Ripple SEC, it was the end of 2021 when John Deaton reached out to Charlie and me, and he said, you guys should look into this.
Well, that's cool though. This is like something I didn't know. Did you know that how this whole thing started blowing up on Fox Business was because John Deaton had reached out to Ellie and Charlie? Did you know that? This is something we never knew.
That's interesting. It's very interesting.
I did not know that. So that was like a learning thing right there.
And then you guys all know. I think the first podcast or the first YouTube channel I ever went on was Chip, specifically.
That's right, Jeff. The first one on the chain.
Very first. And John Deaton, first on the chain. Eleanor Tarrant, first on the chain. Man, we had a lot of firsts. I think Warren Davidson, first podcast in the crypto space on the chain.
Yeah.
Tom Emmer, I think, was first, potentially.
I think so. Either here or Tony. Tony had them both too. So
right, but the question is, but it was after. I don't think it was before.
It might have been after. Yeah, it might have been after. But of course, he got Crypto Mom. She's been on there like 6 or 7 times, which is amazing. She
Is
wouldn't
she?
do our show because she said we talk too much about XRP. I was like,
Yeah,
come on.
So yeah, I mean, I think that market event, that event in crypto really just sort of opened the door a crack, and I think we're going to see a lot more talk about it. So for me, it's really exciting because when I first started covering Ripple SEC, it was the end of 2021 when John Deaton reached out to Charlie and me, and he said, you guys should look into this, and then you guys all know. I think the first podcast or the first
I probably clipped I think it rolled over here a little too much.
YouTube channel I ever went on was Chip, was you guys, and
That's right.
and I remember it so clearly because I was just like, wow, this is my first real kind of like, this is my first appearance as sort of representing Fox business, and also the Ripple piece was my first investigative-ish kind of piece. I'd never written anything quite so long form.
I didn't know that
before, and yeah,
and it was one of the most thorough pieces ever written about the subject. It was so well done. We covered it.
She did a really good job.
It was amazing, and I told her that too. I said it was one of the best pieces that really ever written in the mainstream media that hit all the facts. It was really well covered.
Yeah, that's awesome. And considering that, how great a job she did, and then, Gasparino, who became such a polarizing figure.
But Gasparino's, see, like, I get that he's just poking fun at it. Like, everybody takes him serious and stuff. He's just having fun, man. He really is taking fun. He's just trolling, having fun, goofing on people. And it doesn't take much, and that's why I see it as comedy. I don't see him as like, a really anti person. He just likes to sort of spin, and mess with people.
And it's been quite a journey, but so exciting because now, I kind of know that it's not going away. I knew crypto wasn't going to go away, but you had all the drama with 2022, right? We had FTX, Terra, Celsius, 3 Arrows, all the things. And
by the way, speaking of Celsius, Jeff, did you see that they are going to be paying the people back? Did you see that?
Yeah. So I've been getting emails on that. They are going to, so I'd put an article in the Keep on Celsius. I think that's a really critical point. Let's we'll go into that a little bit after listening to this, if there's any more left on Terra.
It's a little bit, there's a little bit
for
left
a while. And there was some skepticism from TradFi, from Trad Media. They were just like, oh, this is, just a fad, just a passing fad. But I really don't think it is now. And it's really given me hope for the future. So, wherever I decide to go, if I stay at Fox, if I go somewhere else, I'm definitely going to be covering crypto for the long haul. I love it. And awesome. I mean, it's not every day you get a beat that's so, newsy, right? I mean, I could be covering like retail sales, and that would just be deadly dull.
That'd just be boring.
That'd
just be horrible.
Yeah, it's like, can you imagine, like, that's your beat? You got to cover retail sales.
Let's talk about retail. How are retail doing? Well, not so good. All right, next. They're down year over year.
Do you happen to have that? Where is it in the Keep?
Yeah, let me get it. I got it up already.
All right, throw it up there.
Got it up. It's over here on Yahoo Finance. So we'll get into. So there's a couple different components to this. One, Celsius came out of bankruptcy recently, and as part of the agreement, as they come out of bankruptcy, is that they are converting the Celsius assets over into strictly Bitcoin mining. There were some other components to it originally, and then the judge approved it, and then the SEC shut it down, where they're going to still have a path towards generating investment and interest and things like that for individuals. But at this point, they're strictly Bitcoin mining, and they had the Bitcoin mining up and running prior to having to, going through all the problems. And so now it's going to be strictly a Bitcoin mining. And what's even more interesting about the whole thing is that the SEC allowed them to go public. But that was part of the outcome from the bankruptcy, is that they go public.
Crazy,
the creditors, there's like 30 billion, I think, or 3 billion, whatever the number is, that they're distributing. So they're distributing to PayPal wallets. And so I don't believe it's coming in the form of crypto. Originally, it was going to come in the form of Bitcoin or Ethereum to the holders, to wallets, but it looks like now it's going to go in form of USD to PayPal wallets. And so that's a part of it. The other percentage, depending on how much you held on the platform, you'll get shares in this new entity. That's how it was. I don't know if that's still going to hold true, but that was up until like last month. That's what they had been talking about, or at least up through December. So as they go public, a certain distribution to all the holders will be in the form of this new company, Ionic Digital. So how crazy is it though, as they emerge out of it? So Ionic will acquire all of Celsius's mining assets as part of the emergence of the bankrupt lender from Chapter 11. The assets include about 87 megawatts of self-mining capacity, 142 megawatts of hosted Bitcoin mining at third-party sites, and Cedarville site, which is in development to reach a capacity of 240 megawatts. The company, I think that's what MW stands for. The company said in a statement on Thursday. So look at the hash power. It's gonna be interesting, right? How much, what they're actually going to do. But the new company expects to go public in the coming months and has filed Form 10 with the SEC, a first step towards a listing. Celsius creditors will be the new company shareholders. There we go. Who will own equity in the form of common stock. So I find that as long as they do well, it's great. I'm wondering how many people, when they get their stock, if there's going to be a hold period, or if people are just going to try to sell and dump the stock, and is it going to be a valuable stock to hold? I don't know. I don't think anyone's going to know. And it looks like, since we're getting, as creditors, you get first distribution of the stock. It's not like you're doing it post listing. It looks, hopefully it's going to be a pre-launch price point, but then the SEC could say, well, these aren't accredited investors. So, I wonder if the SEC is going to step in and cause some chaos, because that's what they do. They do
that
things
might have been
and
part
then
of the
screw
deal.
you. Well, I'm
Jeff,
sure it was. I'm sure it was. Yeah.
How much of the original holdings are they gonna? Was it from the time that it collapsed? Like, how are they gonna figure out how? Like, for example, if you held Bitcoin, Ethereum, XRP, whatever it was at the time, the price. How are they gonna figure that out?
It was based on, it's based on how much you held, not so much what the price point was at that point. But whatever, I think it's going to be based on the settlement, right? So it depends on, they did a snapshot. Here's how much you held at a certain point. Here's your listings. Here's how much Bitcoin you held. Here's how much Ethereum. Here's how much whatever other assets you held. I don't know if there was a cutoff. I'll have to dig into that. I don't remember if there was a cutoff date for the agreement of distribution based on that price point, or if it's still based on, because this was relatively new, that in the past month and a half that they talked about a PayPal account, unless I missed something early on. But I went back to emails pre-December, and there was still a discussion of distribution in Bitcoin or ETH. So yeah, so and that's exactly, Bitcoin and ETH wallets. But the latest emails we're talking about PayPal. I can even pull. Let me see if I can find one of the. I'll pull one of the emails up, and we can go through it. Let me see if I can find it. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, the percentage is based on the price at that certain date, but it's like, which date? Because how do you know when it really absolutely collapsed? I guess it was the day that they pulled the trigger on it, so it might be
something. Yeah. Yeah. So there are a lot of phishing emails that have been circulating, but some of them are coming directly from. So let me see here. Here's so there's the Stretto services. So it is difficult to figure out like which one's legit, which one's not legit. But so they have 3 billion in cryptocurrency that they're going to distribute to. So it says here, Celsius begun to distribute over 3 billion in crypto and fiat to creditors, settle claims with key stakeholders, and consummate the previously announced transition to a new Bitcoin mining company. Supporting efforts to maximize recoveries to the benefit of creditors, Celsius expects to provide further information regarding the distribution in the coming days. So that was just yesterday. That was the last, and there have been a couple that have come out like that have been, the emails coming out. So, and then it says, remain vigilant. The official committee of unsecured creditors or the respective advisors will never contact you directly by phone, text, or social media to request account or personal information absent a court order or in the record instruction by the court. So,
or email, but which they will contact you by. They didn't mention email.
Yeah. So I'm trying to go back here. Let me see where they talked about PayPal. Because originally, it was going to be in the form of Bitcoin, ETH,
Well, Jeff, don't you
and
think that
shares and stock.
because there was
Here's
such a
another one.
loss, don't you think this mining operation is where the recovery is coming from? Because this thing's been running nonstop. This recovery,
Well, I'm
this
sure,
mining,
yeah. Yeah,
right?
that's a big part of it. They had a lot in ETH that they just moved. But here it says here, you're receiving this email because on or shortly after Celsius effective date, your distribution of crypto will be sent to you through PayPal or Venmo.
You sure that's
That
not a
was
phishing one, Jeff?
No, it's the same exact email chain,
Where's it coming from?
from cases. I mean, it
Strato?
could be. This could be a phishing one. I mean, but how
Just
would they
like, give us
get?
your PayPal, and the next thing you know, I don't know. It sounds,
Yeah, and then they wipe you out. So I'm not doing anything
yeah,
until
I
I
don't know.
get, and then
Yeah,
the thing is you have to go to the website. If you go to the to get the true information, you can go to the Strato services.com website.
yeah,
And then
Strato would be the best
that's
place
how
to
you can
find it.
follow it. If it's a no reply, and figure out exactly what the Strato services is, there's cases, there's a whole long thing, and it's so deceiving, based on exactly what they're gonna, people trying to scam and cheat. And
When is it gonna happen, though? They
I'll
don't
wait
give
for
a time frame.
official notification.
What's the
I
time
mean,
period?
right now it's saying that it's happening. It's starting. The transaction's happening now in February. Should start rolling out, but who knows? But they're also saying that the Celsius mobile app and the web apps right now, you can log in to your Celsius platform. If you go to Celsius, you can log in. You can still see your holdings over on Celsius. But supposedly by February 27th, all access to the Celsius app, whether via a web browser or the app on your mobile device, is going to be terminated. So then you'll have no access to it. So you can download all your holdings. You should have received email, letter, actual physical mail with your holdings, and if you had
Did you?
downloaded prior to, but you'll know exactly what your current holdings are. But it's worthwhile to download everything into a CSV format. And Ray Run's saying in like the next 2 weeks it's going to happen. So it's
That's great,
starting.
dude.
It's starting to come to fruition. One of the emails that I'd read said that the distribution will cover up to like 70%, or and a little bit, not an exact round number, but it might have been like 71% or 70 point something percent of your total holdings, which is
Which is
better than
remarkable
zero.
because, right. But also too, you might make that 30% up as a shareholder
Right.
in this new
Yep.
venture, right?
That's the other
If
part
it's
of
the
it.
second
If it gains.
largest mining in the US, it
Yeah,
has a really
going
good
public.
possibility. If you hold it a little bit longer, it has a chance to really maybe fill that void. I don't know. At least it'll be something, right? It's a good
It's
idea. I
something.
mean,
It's better than nothing. And whether it comes in form of PayPal straight back into fiat, or if it comes in Bitcoin or Ethereum, I think most people are going to be happy, and it's amazing to see that there's actually a path to trying to make people whole. There it is. So I'm glad Ray runs on it. 72.8%, which includes shares in the mining company. So it's not like 72% fiat or
yeah.
digital asset, and it's a total of, but like you said, I mean, that could be a fast path. You hold the shares, whatever those shares are, but also depends how much money you had on the platform. I
Well,
mean,
Jeff,
it's
my
a
suggestion
crushing
is
blow when I went against my better judgment and I put Bitcoin on there.
put it back in Bitcoin and you'll get all your holdings back.
Well, I
You put it
agree.
in
Yeah,
XRP, Jeff,
exactly.
you're gonna be hurting. You're gonna be hurting big time. Put it in ETH or put it into Bitcoin. That's my suggestion. And you hold for a little bit, and you're gonna be rocking it pretty
Yeah,
hard.
exactly. Yeah, but I'm just glad to see that there was a path to, making people whole. I think it's an amazing, because imagine
Right.
if you're in another financial institution, you think they give a shit about you? Let's say JP Morgan went through something like this. Do you think they would give a shit about making people
I
whole?
never do.
Or they'd just be like, see ya.
Well,
Sorry,
look
guys.
all right. Well, case in point, when Barack Obama was president, one of the things they did with this to help GM out was they wiped out the shareholders. You got
Yep.
nothing.
Oh, that was
You got
brutal.
wiped out. And Jeff, at the time, the shares were
That was
what? What were
brutal.
they trading at? 100 something? I mean, people got wiped out.
It wiped out people's portfolio. If it was in your holdings as an employee of General Motors. They converted it into the new stock, and it was so crazy too, because as they filed for bankruptcy, it became like it was GM, whatever and then it became GM new company. And it was just like, and it opened up at like $30 a share or something like that. I'm like, can you do that? Can you just flip a switch and be like, oh, screw you guys. Oh, look, our share's good again. We're good.
Kind
We
of,
have,
but it was trading a lot lower than what the original one. And this, I mean, just like
that was a
like
controversy.
how is this okay to wipe out billions of dollars like with people's to me that was like that stood out. Like I said, we're in trouble if we can do this kind of stuff.
Yeah,
we're in trouble, right? And so this is SEC messing with you. Again, retail
crazy.
got destroyed. I mean, obviously, institutional can absorb that kind of they're bigger to absorb it, but people got wiped out. While you're looking for that, I want to throw this up here. When Moon put this up, he said reorg, wipe everybody out. He said if the co-founder and executive chair of Ripple, being Chris Larsen, can't even keep his own XRP safe, how are nations supposed to trust Ripple with anything? Forget CBDCs, for F's sake. Okay, right? I mean, like, you're messing with CBDCs, you can't keep your own. Okay, pretty good observation on that one by Wen Moon.
It's a solid point. If you really consider everything, and someone here had commented, I'm glad I'm not the only one. I'm glad other people are going through that. Because you think of from an investor's perspective, and here's a lot of people that are knowledgeable about it. Again, going back to Stefan Thomas, when he lost his hard drive or lost access to his hard drive, and like, holy shit, this guy's brilliant, and he lost access to his hard drive. What makes me think I'm not going to lose access to my shit?
Well, that's part of it too, and this is right on point right here, because I think this is interesting. This whole thing, Zaman, formerly the Zum wallet, recent events talking about the Chris Larsen compromised, cold storage wallet. The need for additional security, catering to that need, we're announcing a new multi-sign X app. And if you're and I really happen to like Zaman, you guys know it as Zum. It's so a really phenomenal. It's so easy to use. It's phenomenal. Weed's team over there done a great job utilizing XRPL's functionality. It offers a collective transaction signing, versatile security configurations, and more. They break it down here. We're not going to be able to get into all of it, but this is a really phenomenal article that was published.
It is. But you know what? I mean, at the end of the day, people need a safety net. I don't care. We want to be in a DeFi space. That's awesome. Taking 100% personal responsibility is the whole reason why the banks came into being to begin with, is that you don't have to be responsible. You don't have to put your gold or your money in a safe in your house, that you can put it into a bank and then you can access it virtually from anywhere. Now, granted, in the digital age, we don't need the hard physical brick and mortar location if we're in digital asset, but there has to be a platform, that allows you to have some sort of third-party security that's going to give you access back into your stuff so you don't lose access to it, because you can't run around the world and figure out that everybody's going to, you lose access, you're screwed. That's it. Like, oh, my whole life savings is tied up in this one ledger, and I lost access to it. Now I'm screwed. No, we can't live that way. I mean, it's not.
No, Jeff, you can't live with yourself.
It's not the real world. We can't live with shit. I can't access my hard drive. There goes my 250 million. And there's Stefan Thomas. I mean, granted, the one group, they're like, shit, that hard drive has value. Here's what the actual value of the hard drive is, because we can encrypt it. So now the hard drive itself has a perceived value. So we can trade in that. You can go sell the hard drive, because someone else might want to do it. But it's just too much. And, Mr. Q brings up a good point too. Look at Mr. Q says, I disagree, because what happened was his own negligence and nothing to do with Ripple. And that's true too. Ripple might have multiple layers to make sure that they don't get hacked or they don't lose access. But that didn't help. That was negligence too. That was Quadringa up in Canada, but that was the CEO, had the only access. Remember? And then he went off to India and then disappeared and took the
maybe
thumb drive with him. Maybe right. Yeah, maybe right. That's the point. Yeah, he's probably still alive and well over there somewhere. 2008, GM lost 30.9 billion. They spent 19.2 billion of its cash reserves. In November 2008, GM leadership told Congress that it would not be able to pay its suppliers, meet its loan obligations, or cover healthcare costs of its worker labor contracts unless it received a federal bailout, which is what happened. And then the total bankruptcy filing is said to have totaled an estimated 82 billion in assets and 172 billion in debt. Then they gave them a bridge loan of 13.4 billion. So I'm like, let's see. They lost 30. They spent 19. They were upside down with a total. I mean, they had estimated assets and everything, all this stuff. They gave them a $13.4 billion bridge loan to restructure everything, somehow carry them across the threshold. And that's when they came out with the new GM. That was and they had an IPO. To make it even worse, there was an IPO. So, big institutions got in on that IPO and made a shit ton of money off of the IPO. 2010, within 2 years.
Amazing.
Man, I mean, it would have been devastating had they just let it go. But in reality, had the government stepped aside, they could have broken General Motors up, and other entities would have bought components of General Motors, and maybe you could have consolidated a part of General Motors and sold off assets. They have multiple asset lines, they could have done away with. But during that period of time, they killed Saab. The Obama administration had a hard-on for the Hummer line. So that was like number one because it was the gas guzzler. That was a profitable line at that time. They killed that. That was before the collapse. So they took out the Hummer line. They went after Saab. They took out Pontiac. They took out Oldsmobile. I mean, that wasn't Oldsmobile died before then. But Pontiac, Saturn, Saab, and the Hummer brand. That's what they killed. Remember Saturn? I mean, that was being killed, and then all of a sudden they go into this bankruptcy, and man, it was crazy.
Yeah, when I was at GM, Jeff, I worked on Saturn. So
yeah, I thought
I worked on the honestly, I think
crazy.
GM has been a mess for going back right, probably started right late 60s, early 70s. It's just been a mess. They started making garbage cars, got woke, and went broke.
Yeah, and then now the cars are solid. Now the cars are great. They make a really high quality
garbage.
vehicle.
They're garbage. They don't make a high quality vehicle. The design of it
all we
is
drive is
garbage.
GM vehicles. They're all good.
Garbage. Would never drive a GM vehicle ever.
They're all
never.
good. Every one of them's good. What are you talking about?
They're garbage.
GM makes a great car. Who makes a better car?
Anybody.
Ford? No.
Anybody. Ford makes better.
Previous Chrysler that
would put Ford
now owned by
Ford ahead of it.
French
Toyota is what I drive as we drive in this house. But I love Toyota.
Yeah, I don't mind Toyota, but Toyota designs. I mean, they're good.
But you're pulling my dad here.
I like Toyota because Toyota.
It's Toyota, bro.
Toyota, but the Toyotas are good, like longevity wise. They're fun to drive. Honda's good, but I think General Motors is an amazing car nowadays. They're solid. The engines are good. Everything's good. The interior design is good. But they don't have cars. If you want a car,
even though I worked at the GM Tech Center, I would never drive one. And the thing was, I remember back in the day, Jeff, there was two lots.
In the 90s, they sucked.
There was the
early
lots.
2000s.
Yeah, there was the lot for the foreign cars, which was really far away, and then there was a U.S. made car. So well, I drove back then. I drove a Jeep, so I was okay. I was able to park in the American made one because I drove a Jeep back then.
They even let you into because it was
because it was American, American made. But if you drove a foreign car, you were in you had a long walk to the building, which I don't know. I mean, that's fine if you want to do it, but this is exactly the point Mr. Q's bringing up. This is what Tony and I were going back and forth with. I said what happened to Chris Larson has nothing to do with Ripple.
That's
and
right.
What it demonstrates is that we have a problem with mass adoption because this is if it happened to Stephen Thomas, like you brought up, and it happened to Chris Larson, you're not immune from this. Like, this is a problem. It's pointing out the bigger problem, but Tony was tying it in. This is why we got to get him on the program because we need to chat about this. But he was really attacking Larson.
Yeah, that was Well, he was attacking Larson, telling him he's got to step down from the board and distance himself from Ripple.
So was Jungle. Jungle Link was going. We were going back and forth.
He made a mistake. Made a mistake. I mean, it could happen to anybody, and that's the point. I think you brought up the solid point, and that's what we'll talk to Tony about. Is that it could happen to anybody, and it's 100% proof that we're not going to get mainstream adoption until they fix this problem, because it can happen to anybody, and it happens to people on a regular basis. Just he's getting more notoriety for it because of who he is.
Which is why banks, people laugh at me all the time. Banks is the best path forward. And somebody was saying, well, how do banks make money then? How are they going to make money? I said, well, they could make money by custodying your crypto, right? If a bank insures it or they custody it, there's enough institutional custody solutions, Medico and Metaco, whatever it's called, with Ripple. There's a ton of them out there. So they could charge you a small fee every month just to custody your crypto, and you know that it's secure and it's safe, right? And then when you're in your banking app and you go over, you click on the crypto button, you can buy anything, and it's automatically said, not your keys, not your crypto. Well, if you lose your keys, it ain't your crypto. So don't give me that BS either. I panic all the time with And what if you wrote your phrase down wrong? What if you get it wrong? What if you put it in the wrong order? You're screwed and hosed, because it's if you've taken your seed phrase, and if you've taken your seed phrase and actually restored a wallet, how do you know it's going to work? Sure, there's the printed one that comes with it.
There's got to be someone. Yeah, there's got to be someone to talk to. All right. So if you do get it and something happens, like let's say you're on Coinbase and you lose access to your password, you can log back in and get your password recovery or back into Coinbase. If you have your ledger and you lose access to your ledger, who do you call? How do you get back into your ledger? You know, and other. Well, I know, like on BitTrue, if you don't have access to your password, you can reset your password and log back in, and it'll ping you on your phone and your email. And there's different methods to get back into and get, access to your platform. Right. So I think working with the centralized exchanges, to your point, because it doesn't have to be a Bank of America or a Chase or something like that, but it has to be a centralized exchange to where there's a layer. There has to be a layer of support. What's that?
I trust the bank before I trust an exchange.
I don't know. I mean, Fidelity. If it's Fidelity, do you trust Fidelity?
Yeah, but Fidelity is not a traditional bank. It's more of like a, it's
a financial institution.
Yeah, but
it's not a bank.
It's not necessarily. Well, technically,
it's a centralized exchange.
It's a
stock exchange.
They're two different things, right? And Chase, JP Morgan, Chase are two different things.
Well, right. Well, that's my point, is that if it's like Coinbase is a publicly traded company. Are they solvent? Are they up to the level of at some point of a Fidelity? And when they are, because, then the trust level has to be equal. You have to have equal trust in a Coinbase as you would with a Fidelity. If you don't have trust in Coinbase or any of the platforms, which is high risk at this point, any of them, look what happened with FTX or Celsius, or there is risk involved. And that's the problem. To your point.
That is the big problem. Well, you know what else is the problem is Elizabeth Warren. So let's watch this exchange here. I'm going to have some commentary on it.
20 senators, both Democrats and Republicans, are sponsoring the Digital Asset Anti-Money Laundering Act. This bill would plug the holes in our anti-money laundering rules to make it easier for financial regulators to track suspicious crypto activity, to make it more visible, and to shut down the scammers. So, Mr. Brea, your organization, the National Consumers League, has been protecting consumers for over 100 years. Would this bill help protect American consumers from crypto fraud?
Absolutely, yes, Senator.
Yeah. So
what?
Pay attention to the company,
these
so-called organizations that are going to protect us. This is like, he has the question. What's going on? I got balloons going.
Where did those? How did you get balloons?
Oh man, but there's some kind of like signs you can do on this thing. Like if you do a thumbs up, I think a thumbs up does something.
On your camera?
StreamYard. I don't know. It's on
that
the
was
camera.
Weird. That was really bizarre.
I don't know. Balloons. I don't know what it is. Like I did a thumbs up one time, and then we got I don't know. We got some kind of
really
like
scary. I have no idea where it came from.
I don't know, man. I don't know what the balloons are. We got to look into that.
Very strange.
But she sets it up. Now, Mr. So-and-so, isn't this the way it is? Is it? Absolutely. What did it protect investors? Listen, the SEC is supposed to protect investors. It doesn't. It protects institutional, never retail. We don't need any more people, protecting us, Jeff. I mean, look at this here.
We definitely don't need them. We don't need anyone in the banking, housing, and whatever committee.
We don't need it. First of all, There is AML,
They're not gonna
KYC
protect us.
is ample. Okay. And anybody that sidesteps that, she wants to go after.
Anyone who trusts her.
She thinks there's a big problem. Banking's the problem. Okay. They're money laundering stuff. And if you're going to money launder $1 billion and get a 100 million fine, well, or 10 million or whatever it is, sure. Why not do it all the time? The fees you make are going to be well worth it. And, it's profitable. Sam Lyman chimed in. He said, Warren's bill would make any blockchain protocol functionally inoperable in the United States. So yes, it would shut down scammers in addition to the millions of actors in the space. And, rhinos and Democrats are the same signing on. Libertarians, throw them in there too, because they're
for sure.
They're Democrats with a couple. You know what they are? They're basically Robert F. Kennedy. That's what they are. They're RFKs that they're lockstep with the Democrats, except for this little point over here. I prefer constitutional conservatism myself.
Agreed. Yeah.
Here's
just to the other point here. William's saying developers will create a custody solution. We don't need banks. Have little faith. We are still early. We are early. That we're definitely early, and I think that we will see some custody solutions potentially, and easier access, making sure that you don't lose your stuff. Jim D is saying all these high visibility crypto thefts, losses, snafus are forced prepping the case for biochip IDs. That's interesting too. Or maybe it's a case for that, but it's also a case for what Pocahontas is talking about, which is you need more government protection. Look at all the losses. We need more government. This could be a ripple. This is why you need a CBDC moment.
But that didn't happen either. So here we go. So Elizabeth Warren, now this is what she's spending her time on. We must legalize marijuana nationwide and start to repair the harms of the unjust criminal legal system. Well, interestingly enough, in the United States, cannabis is legal in 38 of the 50 states for medical use. Right. So you just go in, I have anxiety, you get a script, and you basically go purchase whatever you want. And 24 states for recreational. And this is the whole thing. The founders wanted the states to be able to be in control, right?
Correct.
The national,
not the federal government. It's not a national thing.
Right. And that was the same thing with gay marriage and everything else. It's like gay marriage was legal in almost, 25 or 26 of if you didn't like it, move to a state, get married, and that's it. But why do you have to federalize it? This is the problem I always have is this whole federalization of everything. They're going to control everything. It's like, hey, it's mostly legal now. And if you don't like it in your state, campaign or elect officials that will go ahead and make it, but it's not a problem now. So what is she on about? And
she offers zero. She offers nothing. She offers nothing constructive, nothing positive. Everything she does is just more problems, more government control. That's what the blue team, I mean, they're so passionate about controlling every aspect, not at the state level, and letting people decide at the federal level and ramming it down your throat with letting, the 100 senators making their own decisions. That she's a senator. She wants to have 100 people make a determination. It's not even 100 because it's the half plus whatever the little majority they need, and that's who's making it. Imagine you have 60 people in this country that make all the decisions, and she's one of them that thinks that she knows better than everybody else.
She's never passed the bill successfully after 100.
She's wrong. Right.
because their ideas aren't good. And it's like something the great Rush Limbaugh used to say, they never compete in the arena of ideas because they don't have any ideas. They can name call, they call racism, call this, call all these kind of things. But when it comes to the actual idea, the idea doesn't have any merit. And here we go. Here we go right here. So Eleanor Terrett said, eradicate crypto, but give rise to the herb, right?
Right. Need something to numb your brain when they take all your money.
Right. And then, this is just great. And then Neil Hartner said, Elizabeth Warren would make it a crime to sell heroin for crypto, but only because of the crypto.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Not because, exactly.
Because of the crypto, because crypto's bad, Jeff. And then I wanted to put this comment up here from Crypto Navigator. Said, custody your own keys, the safest way to hold your own money and than Fidelity. But it's not the safest way because there's too many examples of people losing.
Keep reading what he said.
BlackRock, Vanguard, and all those companies have your money. They can go under any time. Well, you can lose your keys at any time. And
nothing's safe at this point.
Chief tech officer, who was the first chief tech officer at Ripple, Stephen Thomas, he had set up a passcode that you had 10 tries and it locked. He tried the 10th one, it locked. Now he has a company trying to recover it. This is not somebody this guy, Stephen Thomas, could run, circles around all of us. I mean, for most of us, as far as a technical brain. Chris Larson, a billionaire, had his wallet compromised. So don't think that you're like somebody special. It's like, oh, I don't buy crypto, my keys. Well, good luck. I hope you make it. Hope everything's to work out. I have a cold storage wallet, and I get freaked out all the time. I'm not immune to it.
And then this is happening. U.S. banks, Wells Fargo, Bank of America, Citizen, Chase, and PNC are shutting hundreds of branches a year. And then what do you do? So in the last 10 years, American banks have shuttered 13,000 branches for good. What happens if you lose access? I don't know. I mean, there are that. I guess you can make a case for that. I mean, there's some that are shutting down. I haven't seen any branches near us shut down. I see new banks opening. I see buyouts, like Truist took over SunTrust and whatever the other bank was, and now Truist is everywhere. There's no more SunTrust. Yeah, they shut all the SunTrust. They shut some of them because they had a lot of overlap. But for the most part, they're all Truist. I don't know.
Love this one, Jim. Pocahontas Theater Guild. Scripted politics between herself and sock puppets like Gensler.
That's so funny.
Also, Terry, or Tony, I should say. Tony Doherty says, any thoughts on Flare? Very bullish on Flare. Been bullish on Flare since the beginning, up over 11% this AM. Yeah, Flare is really going to be a powerhouse and actually absolutely could eclipse what Ripple's up to just because, the multi-chain stuff, I think they're still they've got a really amazing vision, and I think it could really go somewhere. But that's it. I've always been really bullish on that.
Let's see where we're at with Flare. Flare's at it's up 10%. It's up to 2 cents. It was trading at 0.023. Now it's up to 0.026. The big move.
Elizabeth.
That's in the last 24 hours. In the past 7 days, though, it's gone from pretty much like 2 cents up to that 0.26 in the last 7 days. I mean, that's a big gain. It really is. In the last month, it was trading under 2 cents. Last 3 months, it was at a penny. And a year ago, it was trading around 4 cents. So
there you have it.
Or it was at 4 cents, collapsed down to about a penny. Actually, under a penny. It was at 0.008. That would have been a nice accumulation moment in October of 2018 at 0.008 from 4 cents, knowing that it would probably go back up. Nice trajectory back up to just under that 3 cents. But you realize that Flare actually launched January 9th of 2023 at 4 cents. That was its max. That's kind of where it as far as CoinGecko is concerned. 4 cents was the starting point.
It's heading back, Jeff. I'm pretty confident on that.
Oh, now we're not that far away. We're about a penny and a half away from its high there.
Yeah. Okay. So let's I wanted to play this next clip here because Trump was on with Bartoloma and she asked him a question here.
Back to the economy for a second. Would you reappoint Jay Powell?
No, I wouldn't do that.
You wouldn't reappoint him?
No.
There you go. Powell fired.
No way.
Gone. Treasury gone. Everything's going to be wiped out. Audit that Fed and then shut it down and create a sovereign currency and get rid of that debt-ridden system. I guarantee that the Fed, I bet you there's probably enough in those cash reserves and all the crap they've been throwing money around in off of that debt that they could probably pay off at least a good solid portion of the deficit. But you got to audit them, man. You got to see what they're up to because they're dirty birds over there.
Yeah, they are. Come on, Sophie. Too negative to be here today. Have a great weekend.
Really. Don't worry about that.
Negative? Just pick up, be happy, be good.
It's all right. It's okay. So
because he missed inflation?
He did miss, but no, I wouldn't be inclined.
Who's your choice for Fed chairman?
I would have a couple of choices. I can't tell you now.
There you go. See you later, stupids. I can't tell you.
Yeah, just get rid of all these.
Can't do it. And Jeff, did you know in Chicago? This is where we're at. Okay, I mean, we didn't get into too many politics today, but in Chicago, the city council voted that they were the first city council in the entire U.S. to pass a ceasefire in Gaza. Now, what in the F are they talking about, Jeff? How about a ceasefire in Chicago? So, just to let you know,
how about a
Avalon
ceasefire
Beach,
in Chicago?
Avalon Beach, Gaza voted for a ceasefire in Chicago.
That would be nice.
right? And then this one
See,
here,
hang on. Whoops. Oh shit. Hang on.
Ukraine unveils a new missile fueled by burning U.S. dollars. Look at that, Jeff. That's phenomenal. Look at that, just burning them up. You see that, Jeff?
Oh,
Did
there
you hear
you
what I
go.
just read, Jeff?
I did.
Come on, that's
I
phenomenal.
like it fueled by U.S. dollars.
There it is. It's burning it like left and right over there. God, you gotta love that. What are you looking for over there? You got something?
I just want to see Chicago. 2023, there were 2,450 shootings across Chicago, 617 homicides. That's what's been reported. Yep.
Yeah,
There you go. 4,000, 40,000. I don't know. There's ABC News, so who knows? The way they distort things on that. But I would like to see like specifics, like in the, what the violence in Chicago is kind of out of control. You know what they're also trying to do in Chicago with all the illegals going in? They want people to open up their homes, start welcoming them in. I think after that display of what we saw happen in New York City, how they attacked that police or the two police officers, that group of them, then they ran off, and I guess they were interviewing them, and many of them will steal in New York and then run away to Florida.
They go to Florida and then they,
but then they don't steal in. He said, "Why don't you steal in Florida?" He said, "Because if we steal in Florida, we're going to get arrested and go to jail." But in New York, they just let them right back out. That's just so stupid.
when they came out of there, they were flipping them off with two fingers, middle fingers. But the one kid got he threw a cigarette or something on the ground, said something to the cop arrested him again. He's gonna get out again. But that's the point is that these people are absolutely nuts, man. I don't know, Jeff. I honestly don't even know anymore. I mean, we're at the point of where we're in clown world where, well, it was up in Massachusetts. The governor of Massachusetts came out and said, please, and she was crying, bring people into your homes. You know how many people have volunteered to bring them in their homes? None. You know why people lock their doors at night and put in an alarm system? But we're not allowed to do that with our house, the United States. But you can do that with your own personal house. And many, like Pelosi, have a wall around their place. So what would work, right? Did you see the wall that separates? What is it? Is it Egypt? Where's the with the rolls of barbed wire?
Egypt. Oh yeah, that's Egypt.
See that?
Egypt
so they want to bring
determined. They don't want anybody coming in. Egypt's they've secured their border. They don't want to. They're not going to help. But that's because Egypt and the region over there, they like the narrative. They like seeing what they see on the news. That's just part and parcel of life in the Middle East. Uh-oh. My browser lost connection. I don't know what happened. Look, I'm you now.
I don't know how that happened, dude.
I don't know. All of a sudden, my camera just went out. I'm now Chip.
That's weird. You can change the avatar though.
I'm Chip.
Sure I don't know what's going on over there. I gotta see if I can find this. This border fence is phenomenal, man. Let's see what happened to him. He completely abandoned me. I'm trying to find this. What happened to Jeff? Yeah, here it is. Well, here's a picture of it. Here it is right here. So I don't know what happened to him, but something happened there. But let's put this back up here. But this is what it looks like. So it's this fence and it's got rolls. I saw one that had like two fences with multiple rolls of this barbed wire. You climb over that fence, man, you're getting ripped to shreds. It's pretty rough, man. It's big old spiky things on top if you make it over. I wonder if you could burrow under the ground. I don't know how deep these fences go, but you're not going there. It's not happening. And but we heard that they don't work, so I don't know what happens there. It's very strange indeed. So Jeff, just come back in here. We'll end the show. I know you don't have your camera working.
I can't get the camera to work. Oh well.
I don't know what happened there.
I'll be you. You
can just be me. You can change it. Click on the three dots and you can change the photo.
Yeah, I don't have a good one to put in there. So I'll just be you.
Okay. This would be me.
I'll be short hair Chip. You can be long hair Chip and I'll be short hair Chip.
Exactly.
It's perfect.
It's always weird, Jeff, when you're eating something, you go like, oh, there's a hair in my food, and you realize it's attached to your head. That's one of the weird things about having long hair. It's like, you're like, oh, wait a minute, hang on a second. Okay, it's my own hair. It's okay. I'm not too creeped out about it. So that happens. So there it is. Chip's hair, yeah. Yeah. Yeah, my wife doesn't like it. She's like, not liking the hair. I was like, okay, you get it. So,
Oh, that's where you get
right,
that.
because there's only so much you can handle. You go outside, it blows all on your face. Really
Oh, look
rough.
at that. Yeah, me now.
A VIP section. Oh, there you are. They look like you. That's dressed up, Jeff.
It's just
That's the huddle.
from
what is it?
T-shirt
Report,
to
Jeff.
dressy Jeff.
Huddle report. That's what that is.
See what else we got.
I think the Democrats should start doing
There's
more.
stuff here I don't even recognize.
Aliens coming over to the border. There you go. But you see, they don't want them in their house. They don't want them here. They don't want them anywhere. But what they do want, they want you. They want your money. They want you to contribute. This is what they want. They don't care about you.
Exactly.
So it's just
That's exactly how it is.
get out of here, Jeff.
Look at that.
Here we
Let's
are.
get out. You know what time it is? We've been on for like an hour 5. It's 9:15. We talked about a whole bunch of stuff. Still 2-1 Tottenham over Everton over here. So 85 minutes in. So that's pretty cool for anyone that's over there in the UK and that's following this. So there you go. It's been great, Chip, and we'll be back on tomorrow night. Not sure if we're going to have Tony Edwards on tomorrow night or Wednesday or the following weekend. Working on that because it'll be really great to talk to him about everything that is going on with Ripple and his commentary on that. A lot of development, still early in this thing, great development. I stay positive with all the chaos and all the issues that we're seeing around the world. I stay very positive that there's a lot of like-minded people that want to see great things, not just in the United States, but all over the world. They want to see great things. People want to live. They want their freedom. They want to be able to go on vacation and do all sorts of awesome things. So there you go.
There you have it.
What do you say, Chip? Video
said
chipping.
Chip.
Oh, into everyone's digital.
Digital wallet, hijacking facial recognition. There you go.
There you go.
Yeah, look,
Took
he's
over
thinking
my,
about everything. Thinking about everything, every possible thing there. That was what my image up there. But holy
So that's
cow,
it.
Jeff, what do we
That's it. That's all we got. We'll see you guys back here in a day or so. Oh no,
in a
Sunday.
day or so? That's
Sunday,
day or
8
so.
p.m. a day or so. You guys know when we do that thing. You know the thing. Sunday,
know the
8 p.m.
thing.
Eastern Standard Time. Wednesday, 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. And Saturday morning, 8 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. We're going to be streaming more on YouTube over the next coming weeks. We didn't even talk about the Gold Coast event coming up in March because that's a big deal. And we can talk about that tomorrow. We're going to talk more about, come in here tomorrow night, 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Find out more about how you too can go check out the Gold Coast.
Yeah, come with us. It's going to be one hell of a party. It will be the event of the year. I guarantee it.
It will be an event, and it will be of the year.
Yeah, John Deaton's going to be there. Great keynote speakers, great workshops, great code-a-thons, phenomenal, good stuff.
Sweet.
Also, I was listening to Shen, which was on the innovation, the people that are running the actual event, and it's a nonprofit, so they're running it, they're putting it together. No one's making $1 out of it, just paying all the expenses. So there's not, but Shen was on there from his project Zerpmon, which is really cool in the game, and NFTs, and it's just really great, man. I'm really excited about it. We haven't talked about Badass Yetis in a while, but we're working on some utility for that. We got some announcements to make coming up on that, so we'll just stay tuned, and we'll let you know what's going on. That's all I have. Let's go, Chip and Jeff.
That's all we got.
Are you down with OTC? Please like, subscribe, and click the bell to be notified when the next video drops.